Okay, shooter ready. Stand by.
Hey guys, welcome back to Rick from 406. So on today's episode of the PCC Showdown, we've got something a little different. We've got a Glock 34 Gen 5 in a recover tactical brace. So hang on. Alright, so here we go. What do we got going on? We have a Glock 34 with a Sig Red dot in a recover tactical brace. It happens to have a streamlight on it. So, what is this thing? Well, if we just flick it, we lock it open, we have a PCP now. That's still handgun-ish sized. So, we're going to run down our grading, our criteria like we do on everything else. So, obviously it's a Glock, so you can probably guess what kind of magazines it takes. And if you guessed anything other than Glock mags, you can go ahead and stop watching because you're helpless. So, it takes Glock mags, the best kind of mags, the right kind for a PCC CCW competition thingy-majigger. So, it takes Glock mags. Company history. Glock's a fly-by-night company. Not many people have heard about it. They probably won't be around very long or something like that. Or maybe it's a Glock 34, so it's a long slide 9mm handgun. Gen 5. Glock's been around since the 80s. Everybody knows about Glock. It's a Glock. The Recover Tactical, it's an Israeli company. I don't know how long they've been around, but obviously they decided that somewhere out there they needed a brace to put a chassis to put a Glock into, because why not? So these Recover Tacticals, I think, run $100 to $200. 100, yeah. So so these Recover Tactical braces run about $100. You can soup them up with a bunch of other stuff. They make a spare magazine holder that acts as an angled forward grip because you wouldn't want to run afoul. So they're fairly inexpensive. It is super lightweight. It's not, I mean, it's probably only a couple of ounces. These are super lightweight. Aftermarket support, it's a Glock, so whatever Glock-like features you want to put on, like perhaps mounting a red dot, that makes this thing usable. You can't get low enough on it to use iron, so red dot is really necessary. You can't run the interchangeable back straps, but that's okay because you're running it as a PCC, so you don't really need it. But any of your other Glock stuff should be good to go, so lights, lasers, hand grenades, all that stuff. Reliability, it's as reliable as a Glock, so it's pretty okay. It's going to run really well. This doesn't actually affect anything other than how you hold the Glock and implement it, which is nice because you're taking a good base and you're making it more versatile, more usable. So reliability is going to be Glock-like reliability. Value, so for $100 and $500, $600, $700, whatever you pay for your Glock, because you can run 19s, 17s, 34s. They make a big frame, so you can run your Glock 21s, your Glock 20s, so 45 AARP, 10mm, that sort of stuff. You can buy different chassis. They also now make the 80-20. So anybody who's running the Polymer 80 frames, you can take a Recover 2020 and modify it a bunch, or Recover just happen to make the 80-20, so it just goes right on. So basically any Glock version, they make a couple of different sizes that will fit, and it clamps on, and it just kind of wraps around, and then when this thing folds, it's got a little button here. It is a tiny little package. These also come, you can get them with a holster, so you can literally wear this as a handgun, take it out of the holster, and then deploy said brace if required. Now we're going to reset the camera, set up for everybody's favorite part, and let's shoot the snot out of this thing. So hang on. Alrighty guys, so we rearranged the camera, we set some steel up. We are going to be shooting this Recover Tactical Glock 34. So this thing is a little tiny PCC, PCP thing. So this is a Glock 34 in a Recover Tactical brace. As you notice, I'm gonna run a bunch of the stick mags because that's what we run in PCCs and PCPs because it makes the most amount of sense. They are Glock mags. They're gonna look a little weird because they are just shoved into my belt. I am left-handed, but I shoot rifles or carbines right-handed. So this setup actually doesn't work for shooting PCCs because this is meant to run pistols or pistol mags, but I'm also shooting pistols left-handed. So I'm just going to kind of wedge these in here because for pistols and rifles, I use my left hand to reload like normal people, but for handguns, I use my right hand to grab magazines. So it does look a little funky, but this is going to work a-okay. And in fact, the more of these I take out, the better I'm going to feel because these are holding back the full tank for the love machine. So I'm going to slip on over and we are going to shoot this little thing. So we are going to do some one reload ones because we have a Glock and that's what's cool on the internet according to everybody. So that's what everybody should be doing. Never ever shoot somebody twice without reloading because it doesn't look cool on Instagram. Also, it gives us practice reloading this thing, which is the real point. So here we go. All right. So that actually works pretty smooth. We're going to try some other magazines. Take them off my belt. Let's try some more one reload ones. Get in some practice shots with this thing. We have a magazine with a few rounds in it, so we'll set up another one reload one, and here we go. Alright, so this thing is pretty easy to run. Unfortunately, as you guys may have noticed, to run the slide of this thing, you really are just beating on the mounted optic on the top, which, I mean, it's attached really well, so it should be fine. But that is kind of the thing with this is there's not a whole lot of meat on the top, so you really end up just running it with your hand, which works really well. It's actually really smooth. It is not as painful as I recall on the cheek. If you bury your cheek on it, it's really going to hurt, but if you just run it up, it's actually pretty smooth. Overall, this thing is it is the cheapest way, I think, to get into a PCC if you already own a handgun, because I mean, like we talked about, these things are $100. You can buy a bunch of their add-ons and other stuff. I don't know if you really need to, but if you already own a Glock 19, 17, 34, and you're running 9mm, it works great. Obviously, they make them for Glocks, M&Ps, SIGs, I think. They make them 1911s, which if you're trying to turn a 1911 into a PCC, I would suggest going to the retirement home and just staying there where you belong. The future is now, old man, and it's polymer framed, double stack, you know, running and gunning, no manual safety, no beaver tail safety, nothing, just that drop safety and that trigger safety, and you're just going to let this thing eat until we start shooting laser beams. I think striker fired handguns are they've been the future for a while. So that was the Recover Tactical 2020 PCC combination. So until we meet again, Rick from 406 out.